Hi everyone, thank you for joining the call for today's session on getting to know Power BI. I'm Lloyd Jeffries, the handsome chap there on the right hand side. I work in the CEO practice for KPMG Crimson Wing as one of our senior technical consultants. You probably won't believe it when you look at my youthful looks, but I've worked with SQL Server, several programming languages and reporting services for, at least 10 years. So to say the least, I'm a little bit of a techno geek. I've worked with Power BI and Power Query for the past 2 years, and I'm excited to be giving you a quick overview today. Anyway, to the agenda. First, we'll provide a bit of a background on Power BI and showcase some of the advantages of working with it in order to contextualize the benefits. Then we'll actually demonstrate the solution using examples from store performance, marketing and resource management, and finally we'll end with a bit about pricing and answer any questions you have. A few notes before beginning though. We will be recording this webinar so that you'll be able to share it with your colleagues. In addition, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, in the interest of timekeeping, please enter them into the chat or Q&A functions and we'll address them in the Q&A portion of the webinar at the end. So let's move on to what is Power BI and how can it help. In essence, it's a collection of software services, apps and connectors that work together to turn unrelated data sources into meaningful insights. It provides you with live visual dashboards and reports that can easily be created and analyzed by end users. So how does it do that? It has an end-to-end view. So what I mean by that is that often departments don't collaborate or simply don't have the time to produce a report from data residing in several different business applications. And it also allows you to connect multiple data sources, so you can leverage data that's residing in both the cloud or on-premise, therefore providing a consolidated view regardless of where your data lives. It also gives you the right data for the right user at the right time. So regardless if you're experienced in reporting or you're just an end user who needs to access particular insights, Power BI can help you regardless. So let's move on to getting access to Power BI itself. Power BI is accessible through a number of means, but the two main ones that we're going to talk about today are the desktop option and in the cloud at powerbi.com. And I'll just quickly explain the difference between the two. So the experience with desktop is very similar to a user experience of Excel. It will allow business users to easily transition to an advanced reporting tool with minimal effort. The advantage of the desktop application is that it's easier to model your data here. However, for the purposes of collaboration and visualizing data, you can achieve a lot with the cloud application. Within powerbi.com, your team can create content packs, which is an easy way to create a dashboard, report, or data set that can be shared across the organization. It works entirely with a web page and is compatible with all major browsers and mobile devices. So there are no restrictions from where you can gain access. Now we've looked at the two main ways of accessing Power BI, let's go on to how you can get data into Power BI. As I mentioned, one of the best parts about Power BI is that you can pull and compile data from a number of sources, from Excel to Dynamics to SQL and a number of SaaS services. With Excel, you can easily build reports from spreadsheets, and any existing reports within your organization, user can drop into OneDrive for Business, and any Power BIs can automatically then update. You can pull in data from Dynamics and then embed reports into your existing tenant. You can also model data from almost any existing database, including Microsoft SQL, of course. Additional services are also available, so you could have a great opportunity to merge data from a number of pre-built connectors, for example, MailChimp, GitHub, and more. So I'll just quickly show you in PowerBI.com itself how you could do that. So when you load PowerBI.com, one of the first things that you'll see on the left-hand side is down the bottom a Get Data option. That will always be there. When you click that, you get to this screen, and it allows you to automatically import content packs or import direct data from files. So I'm going to click Services, and we're going to go and have a look at some of the content packs which are already available to us out of the box. We have connectors for Adobe Analytics, to Google Analytics, to Bing, and many Microsoft Dynamics connectors, of course, and more. But I'm not going to go through each one of these now. I'll let you have a look at that when you go and look at PowerBI.com for yourself. But I'm just going to show you how easy it is to get data from Dynamics at this point. So I'm just going to type in here Dynamics, and we'll have a look at AX, and perhaps do cost management. I can click. So I can click Get It Now. And then I'm prompted to enter the URL. If I was to enter the URL for Dynamics AX tenant and click Next, it would automatically then start to pull in data and build you a set of pre-built dashboards and reports for Dynamics AX, which you can then share within your organization. So I'm not going to do that now. You can try that yourselves should you wish to later on. So now we've looked at how to access your data. Let's move on to modeling and visualizing your data. Power BI enjoys similar filtering, sorting, and transformation capabilities that you find in Excel, and that you're already familiar, making the transition for business users much simpler. The majority of work related to preparing reports lies in transforming the data. Once the data is ready, creating visualizations is really quite simple. Power BI isn't Power BI without the wide variety of visualizations at your service. From pie charts to tree maps, etc. You can also leverage custom visuals, a library which is ever expanding and is available at PowerBI.com. Rather than providing static reports and beautiful donut charts, the power of these visualizations is that they can enable you to dig deeper into and slice and dice your data. For example, you can highlight a value on one visualization to change other visualizations. You can drill down into your hierarchical data. You can filter, sort, hover over, and highlight data, and you can easily switch visualizations on demand. There's only so much time available, so we'll dig into a few examples of this shortly. But let's move on now into how you can get insights from Power BI other than your standard reports that you'll be generating within Power BI. So once you've created your dashboard or report designed to help you achieve any specific insights you may wish, there's an additional functionality built into the product that can help you uncover patterns and trends. These include quick insights and natural language query. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about both of those. With quick insights, it's a relatively new feature that enables you to discover patterns and trends in your data automatically. You can take advantage of algorithms that will uncover trends in your data that you may not be measuring in your day-to-day work. Another great aspect is that any insights generated using quick insights can be easily pinned to an existing dashboard. You also have natural language query. So if you don't know what you need to know, You can ask a question of your data in natural language with Q&A. For example, you can ask something like, show me the best-selling burger in 2016. And Power BI will go off and be able to answer that question for you. With Cortana integration, this becomes even more powerful because you can ask directly from your desktop and get those insights returned straight back to your desktop without even having to navigate to Power BI. So now we've looked at getting insights, let's move on to sharing and publishing reports. This is the real meat and power behind Power BI. Once you've created your reports and dashboards, you have a variety of options for sharing this material, as well as how to ensure it stays up to date. You can embed your reports into any web application, including Dynamics. You can even take data from areas of the business applications external to Dynamics and embed within Dynamics and vice versa. So I'll just quickly show you what I mean. So I'm going to look at one of the reports that should show you a little bit later. This is actually bringing in data from SQL databases and other ERP systems and merging this data together within Power BI. And not all the data necessarily resides in Dynamics. So I wanted to go and then see that in our sales dashboard. So I've taken a Dynamics 365 tenant and embedded the Power BI report directly into the dashboard. So you can see it here, and you can scroll down and we can navigate between pages of the Power BI report directly from within the tenant. You also have the ability to share content packs, dashboards, reports, or data sets, which means the days of receiving daily or weekly reports via email that consume your inbox are now gone. You can use data capture gateways to get on-premise data into the cloud whilst remaining secure. You can also schedule refresh from Excel files that are stored on your desktop, and you can even use a mobile app which is available on Windows, iOS and Android to access dashboards and even configure alerts to get notifications on critical business KPIs. So now we've looked at how you can get data from Power BI. Let's look at how at our demonstration for Big Burgers Limited. We decided we weren't going to give you your usual Contoso or AdventureWorks examples today, so we've gone for something new. Big Burgers Limited is a growing restaurant chain in the UK. They currently have 30 stores and are looking to expand operations by opening new stores. They want insight from how each restaurant is performing, which regions are the most profitable, and what kind of marketing campaigns have supported their growth, and how they can resource stores more effectively. Just going to quickly now pull up Power BI. And this is going to be the Power BI portal. Okay, so here's the main dashboard for Big Burgers Limited, which has an amalgamation of a number of different reports. These can be easily customized, and each one of these pin tiles will link through to a separate report. This one by here is primarily geared towards sales, but includes other metrics also. So if we just drill it into this tile here, it will automatically open the report for us. And as a starting point, we can look into the various ways you can slice and dice your data. So, for example, if you wanted to see what the best-selling items are, we can see that names tend to be the best-selling. And if we drill down into that, we can see that burgers are the best-selling type of names. And if we drill down again, we can see that beef burgers are the best-selling type of burgers. And after the categorization, we can see that the actual best-selling product is the Bombay Bad Boy Burger. And we can jump back up and maybe go and have a look at hot dogs as well. and we can see that the best-selling hot dog or rolls is spicy dog, which kind of goes in line with the fact that spicy food is Britain's favourite type of food. We can also go and have a look at the store performance, and that's linked through to. So we can see year on year that Leicester is the best performing store. But if we go and have a look at 2014, it's the best performing store for that year. And 2015, it's still the best performing store, but Leicester Square has started to catch up slightly. And if we go to 2016, we can see that something's happened now, and London Leicester Square has just overtaken Leicester. So now let's go back to the dashboard for a second, and we can have a look at some of the other ways that we can interact with our data. So the Q&A function that I mentioned before is here at the top. So we can begin typing in a query that we'd be interested in seeing. So for example, let's have a look at the best performing store in 2016. So I can type in branch with the greatest revenue, and I can see then that Leicester is the best performing, but then I can then go and maybe change that to in 2016, and I can see that Leicester Square is now overtaken Leicester, and perhaps I can then go and say in London, because we're thinking of opening a store in the London Piccadilly area. We want to compare that to the performance of the other stores in the London area. I can then go and change my visualization on the fly. So I could go and choose the stack chart or perhaps a pie chart. And perhaps even if I don't like the colors, I could go over to the right-hand side and quickly choose some new colors from here. So I can go and change Leicester Square to, just say, a red. And then I can go and pin the visualization to a dashboard. And at this point, I can choose an existing dashboard, or create a new dashboard, or choose one of the other dashboards that are already available. So I'm going to pin it to Big Burgers, exit the Q&A. As I go to the bottom, I can see the new chart pinned to the bottom. So if we now go and have a look at the budget versus actuals for the London region, here I've got South and then London selected, so all the stores in the London area are selected, and I can see a summation of the budget for all those stores. And in yellow, I can see the actual revenue that was achieved by those stores week by week in that time period. And as you can see, in 2016, we've quite often spiked the budget. And in that year, we hired a new marketing director in the London area that came up with some really creative and effective campaigns. And you can see how those campaigns spike through the budget. So if we go and have a look at Leicester Square, we can see those highlighted in red here, and blue are the different campaigns that were run at that time. And if we want to go and have a look at the impact of those campaigns, we can go to a different report over here on the left-hand side, and we can go and have a look at the buy one get one free campaign. And we can see that the number of covers where that campaign was actually used was set at 14.6%. And the campaign where that was most effective was in Stratford, with Leicester Square just behind it, and the total number of covers related to that campaign code. So it gives us a nice overview, and we can, even from here, go and narrow down directly on one store. So let's go back to the main report and go and have a look at some of the resourcing that we can look at. So if we wanted to look at Leicester Square from the perspective of another department, we could also see within Leicester Square we wanted to tackle some resourcing issues, particularly that we've been understaffed. So we want to be able to reallocate resources and determine if we need to hire more people to cover particular shifts. So if we look over here on the left-hand side, we can see the distribution of overtime to normal working hours. We can then go and have a look at maybe that from the perspective of a weeknight, and we can see that there's a far greater proportion of overtime at this point, maybe 30% overtime compared to 70% normal working shift patterns. So if we then go and enable our drill down option, we can then go and have a look at the distribution of staff in that overtime period, and you can see the majority of it was in kitchen staff. So if we jump back up, and we then go and select the position of kitchen from here, and we look at this from an all-week standpoint. We can then see that there's perhaps scope to increase some people's working hours. Perhaps Gary Sharples or Anthony Robinson could potentially have their working hours increased. Or perhaps we can consider hiring some more kitchen staff for the weekend nights. So that gives an idea of some of the ways of working within Power BI. Let's just quickly talk pricing and get to the questions if you have them. So really, other than explaining why Power BI is an excellent tool, we believe that it's especially valuable for customers who are already running Microsoft Dynamics. So really, there are three key things that as a Dynamics customer that are worth keeping in mind with respect to Power BI. As mentioned previously, Power BI can be embedded in applications such as Dynamics AX, NAV, CRM, or Dynamics 365 now, enabling you to pull from multiple sources and merge data sets. There are free content packs available, such as sales and financials and more, which you can download and start working with immediately. And you can create your own content packs to share within your organization. If you have an Office 365 E5 license, you already have Power BI. Use of PowerBI.com requires an Office 365 tenant. We recommend that for any serious use, you consider a Pro license. The rate is very reasonable at £6.20 per user per month. And Pro offers some additional collaboration and data refresh features, high data capacity and data streaming limits. Microsoft Power BI Pro is available as a 60-day trial free of charge, and it's also included free of charge with any new Office 365 E5 plan. So in summary, I'd say that Power BI is an excellent tool for all your reporting needs. The price, when you compare it with other reporting tools, are extremely competitive. The collaboration tools within Power BI are first class, and the only question is, why aren't you using it already? Thank you very much for your time today. Let's move on to a few questions. If you have anything you'd like to ask, please enter it into the chat or Q&A windows now. For any additional questions, please feel free to get in touch via my email, lloyd.jeffries@kpmg.co.uk, or speak to your account manager. Stay tuned for our next webinar in March. Thank you.